Click the old record button, and I gotta adjust that per usual. And
look out into the ocean.
Can I change a different song now?
this is the one you picked?
I picked a number.
Wherever you are, I look up at the stars and see my life with you. I know that I need you, and I hold on to every feeling. You give me the only reason for me to keep on breathing.
Are you not happy with the musical variety I provide the people, Josh?
Negative.
Oh, well, next time I guess you can source the music then.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of the two lovely hostesses, the Garlic Johnson. I am joined by our other lovely hostess, the Joshua.
Hi, folks.
You nailed it. You nailed it, buddy. Good job. We have a email address if you'd ever like to reach out to the show, hiddenoaksoverdose@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/hoodpod. We enjoy your engagement whenever you can give us your attention. Josh and I are egomaniacs. We're needy fucks, and we need that attention, so give it to us, please. If you don't want to listen to the whole show, we totally understand. All these segment start times are down in the description below. If there's just a few certain things you want to listen to, feel free to jump around. Thank you, Levi Oki, for that beautiful illustration everyone can currently see on their telephone screen. Levi Oki Illustration is his Instagram handle. Hook up with him there if you're looking for something beautiful. Josh, how we doing today?
Doing well. I can feel my back.
Was there a point in time where you could not feel your back?
Well, no, I mean, I can feel my back is not as in pain as pain was yesterday. Sentence. No, I had physical therapy yesterday morning, and they did dry needling. Have you ever heard of that?
I've never heard of dry needling. It sounds like something a heroin addict would do, though.
Close. Think of heroin on speed. What it is acupuncture essentially, and then they hook it up to electric nodes like stim machines, and then they turn it on, so then they send little pulses of electricity through your body.
Yep.
And so I am Iron Man.
Iron Man?
No, but yeah, they did that in my low back, and the physical therapist, how do you feel about needles? Well, that's kind of a random question coming from someone who's supposed to help me with stretching, but I don't know. We're going to poke you with a couple. So yeah, they poked me with some 5-inch needles, put them right in the muscle of my low back, and sent some electricity through my body, or whatever, stim.
Did you happen to be in an alleyway? Were you in the back of a old truck? Was this like a legitimate doctor's office? Did you like look around, like as you started to get poked, you're like, wait a fucking second.
The white van said doctor on the side.
Well, he's legit. He's got documentation. He is good to go.
There we go. But yeah, so other than that, then we won our softball tournament last night. So we took first place in the league, first place in the tournament, Yes! Absolutely. And so, how about you, Gar? How's life? I talked too long. Should we just skip to the outro?
Just skip right to the outro. We could. I mean, I wanted to come in today and see if we can come in under an hour, just for our loyal fans, so we don't go too long today. But I'm good. About to hit week 2 of fun employment. So just looking for a job, seeing what I can do there. But otherwise, life's good. I mean, I wake up when I want to, and I do. I don't know how long you've been. It's been a while since you've been unemployed, but if you remember the game, it's kind of like you like wake up and you like kind of search all the job sites, and you do like enough to not feel shitty about yourself for the day, and then you kind of do whatever else you want to do for the rest of the day. So
I was last unemployed as a freshman in college. 2009, 2010.
Well, how about when you graduated? Okay, how about when you worked at GMC? I say worked in quotes, and you were looking for your big boy job, as it were.
Oh, I mean, yeah, 5 years, 4 years.
There you go. Okay. All right.
But I mean, that was 40 hours a week. I still had to drive all over, had to get up, put on pants,
They made you put on pants?
Khaki pants.
And how long did you work that job?
7 years.
Holy Josh, you're a strong, brave man.
I've owned 4 pairs of khakis in my life, so you do the math.
And 3 of them were as a small child.
And 3 of them are in the future.
Wait, that 1, 2 carry the. No, that adds up.
Hey,
that adds up.
don't worry about it. We got some hate mail this past week. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. We were gonna get there. So I noticed that in the NFL news section that we normally have, it's like our third technical section after the hot takes. So I moved it to because the NFL news was empty. So I was like, well, maybe Josh is over NFL news. We can take that out. I had put in a couple of things, but then we're getting semi-consistent like interaction on Facebook. So I figured we could try and put that into like its own mini segment. If you want.
It. Yep. Well, the NFL news this season started off as fantasy relevant injuries. We weren't just going to go through the headlines because who cares? Everybody who has sleeper already knows, and everybody who pays attention to anything already knows. So
sure.
Jay Gruden was fired. That was kind of the big one of this week.
Yep.
But yeah, so hot takes. Do you want to move on to that then?
Yeah, let's do some hot takes, Josh.
18 minutes.
Very good. Very good. No, it's been 6 minutes. Oh my god. Yeah, we got a while.
So yeah, hot takes. I said there'll be one game this season where the NFL subreddit does not bitch about the refs.
No, there won't be.
There's going to be one.
One game or 1 week?
One game.
What game? Give me a week or a team involved, either or.
Well, actually, I think it would be this week. It's going to be Miami, Washington, because the refs aren't even going to be there.
What do they need to be there for? There's no football team showing up.
Oh,
zing. Yeah, but no, I mean that's definitely possible. I mean the refs have been questionable this year, and it's been the.
Just wait till we get to the recap of our homerisms.
Just wait. Okay, I guess I'll just tease it by saying that even like in Zimmer in his post game press conference on Sunday, because he had challenged I think either once or twice like a DPI, either it was a no call or it was a call, and he's like that's ridiculous. And he was like, yeah, I guess they're not going to overturn it unless it's the NFC Championship game, so it's a pointless rule. So Zimmer was coming out hot. I don't think he said the pointless rule part, but that was his implication. Anyways, my hot take for the week, I'm saying that this is a lukewarm take compared to last week, but I'm saying the 49ers are going to win the NFC West. And coming into the season, that sounded ridiculous with the Seahawks and the Rams in that division, but they're 4-0 right now, baby, and they got a big test this week against the Rams, so we'll see. But I got the Niners taking the West.
I mean, you say maybe not so hot anymore, but I still think it is because the Rams are still decent. And then Seattle's 4-1, and Russell Wilson is just on fire. Leading the league in touchdowns, leading the league in yards, I believe, and then he has 0 interceptions.
Mm-hmm. Do I sound robot-y to you by chance?
No more than usual. Did you forget to recharge?
No. Okay, so we're going to take a quick pause. I'm just going to reset this hearing. We're going to cut off. All right. Now talk.
Did I sound robotic?
You did just a little. Is your mic by chance by your phone? I mean, it wasn't that close. Okay, anyway, sorry. That was a distraction. We're moving on. You sound fine.
Perfect.
Maybe I'm just crazy. But yeah, so that's it for hot takes. Josh, we do have the old news / new fan interaction section. I don't know. Do you want to just read off those quick headlines?
Yeah.
Or would you rather? Okay.
We already talked Jay Gruden getting fired. That was kind of the big one.
Yep.
I love John Gruden's quote about it. Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club, brother.
Cody Parkey's now a Titan. Who cares?
The double doink got another job, Josh. That's why I put it in.
Oh, I guess I forgot.
That Cody Parkey is the double
I try
doink.
to distance myself from Bears things. So, geez, Kyle.
Your house is haunted.
Bengals going to trade AJ Green. I don't see that happening, but if they do, we've got a 5th round draft pick in Green Bay that would just go really good in Cincy.
I had heard some speculation, so I threw that in there with the trade deadline.
Yeah, they're talking
in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Few different guys. AJ Green, Emmanuel Sanders is on there. There's a couple guys that they're talking, big names that might get dealt, but we'll see.
We will see. All right, so maybe that'll be the last week we do news, because again, news usually isn't that major. I mean, if anything's so major, we will probably mention it in passing.
Yeah, we can do the fan interaction. I like this next piece. Maybe if people send us questions, we can answer their questions, because this next one coming in from...
You got mail.
Like that?
Love it. Do it again.
Okay. Hold on. Let's make sure it's not too loud.
You've got mail.
There we go.
So Hammer sent us a question. Which Hammer?
The Mr. variety, the one with a dick.
The one with external genitalia. Got it.
Well, yes.
For the most part, unless it's cold.
Well, that's correct.
Is Aaron Rodgers still fantasy relevant? Gar, what's your take on that?
I mean, this year, he really hasn't been, right? When we played our game last week, he was ranked 16. I know this week he put up maybe like 10 points. Obviously, they won the game. It's not that Rodgers is performing poorly. It's just that Rodgers in the LaFleur system is not the bailing out every poor McCarthy play call decision ever. So it's more balanced. It's more structured. And Rodgers, as far as being fantasy relevant, so far he's trending for no this year. Like, if he was on my team, he's definitely not a for sure start. Maybe a matchup start at best.
Yeah, no, and I honestly, even as a Packers fan, I don't think he's fantasy relevant. I think that just coming off the top of my head right now, he's not like a Drew Brees, Deshaun Watson, Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers struggled last week, but he's known for throwing up those yards. He's more of a Tom Brady right now, because Tom Brady is not necessarily known for his fantasy scoring. I mean, this year he's been doing well, but for the most part, it's been game management, moving the ball down the field, and then if needed, he can take control of the game and put up some points. With how they've ran the ball this past week, and then just their defense in general, he hasn't had to do a whole lot. So if I had Aaron Rodgers right now, I probably wouldn't start him if I had somebody else on my team.
Yeah, I mean, this is not part of the question that Ham originally asked us, but I have Odell on a team, and he is woofing it this year as far as fantasy goes, and I don't know if I want to start him this week. And it's crazy to think not start Odell. Same would be like in the beginning of the season, someone said, yeah, I have Rodgers, but I'm not going to start him. That's crazy talk. So, I mean, the consensus seems to be Rodgers this year, not fantasy relevant.
No, and as a Packers fan, him being not fantasy relevant, but still being 4-1, I'll take it.
I'm sure you will. I was gonna say, does it sting a little? But I'm sure being 4-1 kind of masks that just fine.
Now if they were 1-4 and not fantasy relevant, then I'd have this many unopened beers over here to finish this podcast.
Well, I mean, you got to get through it. I mean, it's called, it's champion juice as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Hate mail. Do you?
You've got mail.
We did get one piece of hate mail, and I'll read it because this anonymous source, I have a feeling I know who it is, just based on...
Just to be clear, though, we're going to respect their anonymity.
Yep, we're going to respect their animalistic nature.
Well, I mean, they signed the email as anonymous, so it's not like there's any way we can know who they are anyways.
I agree with Jamie 100%. Walters is engaged. Accept it. Time to move forward with your lives and stop this unhealthy obsession. Sincerely, Anonymous.
That stings a little bit for me. Does it sting for you, Josh?
I don't know if the email stings or knowing Walters is engaged stings more.
Were you hoping he's going to wait for you and Nikita to, break up?
Well, yeah. I mean, Nikita's got a decent life insurance policy. I figured with her height, she's only... No. For those of you who aren't aware, I love my wife dearly. And she wants...
Allegedly.
And I'm going to tell you on the air, so... people who are listening live to the podcast after we record it. And,
live at the time.
Yep, live at the time.
As Audio Al would say.
She wants you to upload it as soon as you can so she can listen to it on the drive into work tomorrow.
Oh, on the drive. Okay, so I traditionally upload it right away. And then I think for the last 2-3 weeks I've had it so auto publishes at 6 or 7 the next morning.
Yeah, see, she's already been at work for 2 hours.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't get up at 3:50 in the morning. But I will just go back to the old ways of publishing it right at night. I was trying to see if we could get more listeners by publishing in the morning, and they're like, oh, it published, and they listen to it on the way to work, but I don't
publish it later. Our friends probably don't go to bed till 1 in the morning and wake up at 12. The last thing they're going to do is check their phone for a podcast.
I mean, think about it. So you're I
guess Latvia. What time? It's 5 o'clock always over there.
I was gonna say characteristically, you might be putting Jesse or Bradley in that category, but if you actually think about our core listeners of Walters and Brian Knupp and the Hammers, those people are actual adults who work jobs. So
I suppose I didn't even say that into the mic, but I suppose.
I guess. So
yes.
I mean, our friends can certainly be pieces of shit, but our actual core listeners. I mean, yeah, I think they're normal adults, but I'll publish it at night anyways. If they want to listen, they'll go out of their way to listen. So,
all right, let's go. Homer results. We had some good games this week.
We did, and I have to write down this. Okay,
6:27 p.m.
Thank you very much, Josh. All right, so I made sure you went first last week, so now I will not feel guilty when I go first this week. So I'm going to start. Obviously, the Vikings played the Giants. We beat the Giants 28-10. So I'll start there. I regret not sharing it last week because now it can seem like I'm being fake. Not that anyone here is going to hold our takes or our perspectives to the fire and be like, "Oh, you're just saying this after everyone else said it." But I had a thought on the drive-in last week, and I never shared it because if I don't write it down, I'll forget about it, and I never wrote it down. But I was thinking that Chicago game overall is probably going to be good for Zimmer's growth because Zimmer forever and ever has wanted a run-first, defensive-oriented team, and he finally got that after churning through offensive coordinators. It seemed like this year he finally got it.
You meant offensive. You said defensive, but did you mean offensive?
I did mean offensive. If I didn't say that,
that's offensive to Zimmer, by the way.
I am what a lot of my former coworkers would call a small brain, so I can only function at such high rate. So offensive coordinators. He's been churning through them. And so it seemed like this year he finally got what he wanted. And then, we were able to run the ball successfully for the first 3 games. Obviously didn't win one of them, but 2 of them, it looked like exactly what Zimmer wanted from his team. And then that Chicago game, we were not able to run the ball. And it seemed like, I can't say whether it was Zimmer's decision-making or whose it was, but we were running that ball up the middle with no excitement, probably longer than we should have in that game, considering we were behind. And I'm hoping that Zimmer, wanting to trust the run is understandable, but that not being able to do it and losing a game, even though you're trying to stick to the run, hopefully that'll be good for his overall growth and be like, all right, you finally have the team you want, and that team was not able to get a win in Chicago because they were doing what you wanted them to do. So hopefully, we had the Diggs drama, the Adam Thielen drama coming out of that game. Hopefully the coaching staff is like, all right, we want to run the ball, we want to control the clock, but maybe we got to throw the ball once in a while.
Yeah, so, I think we talked about it after week 1. You guys aren't going to get by with 11 or 12 passes a game.
Yeah, I think Kirk had 10 the first game. He completed 8 for 10.
Yeah, and so you're not going to get by with that. And but no, I saw that note, and I do think it was good for Zimmer's growth. But he's been in the league a long time, so he should have had that growth already. He should have known that you can't run it up the middle in the 4th quarter when you're down by whatever on 1st and 2nd down and expect anything to happen.
Right.
That's kind of what he did for the most part.
Right, which is kind of my indented bullet there underneath that. It just says, it seems like, a week removed or a further week removed, it seems like Diggs' issues were more with the coaches maybe than with Kirk Cousins. Looking back at the film, I watched a YouTube video of someone breaking down the film. Cousins missed plenty of opportunities in that Chicago game, so you can't say that Cousins didn't play poorly, but at the same time, he didn't feel comfortable. There was people already in his face, so I'm thinking maybe Diggs' issues were more with coaching than with Cousins, not that either was great in that Chicago game. For going back to the Giants game now, getting back on topic, I just said this win really meant nothing for me. We looked all right. There were still some broken plays, though, especially on defense. Josh, we were, as we usually do when we're available, we text back and forth about the game, and Daniel Jones missed some easy touchdown opportunities in that game because of some blown coverages. So that was not cool. Everyone's like, oh, our passing attack's back. Well, I'm not so sure that wasn't the game plan to begin with, playing the 25th ranked pass defense. Why would we not come out? Even Zimmer's not dumb enough to say, all right, well, let's run the ball against this team that's terrible defending the pass. So I'm not sure that wasn't going to be our game plan all along, despite all the drama that happened last week with the Vikings. So, yeah, that win meant nothing to me. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on the Vikings-Giants game, but...
Yeah, I watched it. Just living in Minnesota, I have no choice but to watch that game in the afternoon, and so thankfully the Packers game was the late afternoon. I agree that they looked revamped. Cousins came out hot. He took a lot of safe passes. He did. I know they wanted. I think one of the things that Diggs and Thielen said, maybe it was just Thielen, he wanted him to take more chances downfield, trust his receivers, because last year that's what he did. He threw the ball downfield and they caught the ball. This year, it seems like his ball. Air travel for that ball is only 5 yards or less. It seems he's throwing a lot of short passes, a lot of things, and there's been times where he definitely hasn't had time, especially in that Chicago game. This one he did have a couple deeper throws, but I think on the 2 touchdown passes they were kind of short crossing drag routes. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but part of me wants to say that mentally I thought to myself, why he's just throwing it short and Thielen's making moves, or not necessarily Diggs, because Diggs is not done much at all this year, but yeah, Cook is catching more balls than Diggs this season, and so he's still doing the check down thing, and while it was nice, he threw the ball 30 times and completed 20 something of them. You had a good point on the Giants. If you didn't bring it up, I was going to bring it up, that the Giants defense for pass defense is bad.
Some would say trash.
Yep. So I do want to ask you, though, are you on that? I don't think you are, just because of what I'm reading on your notes. But are you on the side of the fence that says Kirk Cousins is back? Vikings are back on track? Or are you on the side that says it was the Giants? Let's see how he does against Philly. Let's see how he does against... I mean, Philly's pass defense is also bad. But let's see how he does against other teams in other situations before we start saying, okay, we're back to where we were.
Sure. I mean, that's a good question. So it brings up some thoughts I had, because I was trying not to make this go too long, so I only kept a couple notes. But Kirk Cousins did say in a couple of his press conferences this week that, he was playing with a little more of an edge to him in that Giants game. He kind of, if you want to refer to it almost as like another persona or another personality of Kirk Cousins, him and the media kind of referred to it as the "you like that Kirk Cousins." Everyone knows that clip. So he said he normally plays better when he's got a little bit of an edge to him. And in his press conference, he wouldn't say what got him that edge, like in the Giants game, or what got him vamped up.
Diggs slept with Julie.
It could have been it. That could have been it. But so anyways, I mean, it was funny because in Zimmer's press, he was like, heck, if he plays better ticked off, I'll tick him off myself. And all the media correspondents laughed, and I thought it was funny as well. So, I mean, is he back? I don't know. Is he going to be ticked off every week? If that's what it takes for Cousins to play at a higher level, I won't say that he's back. It just, all the attention the team got this week, all the unwanted attention the team got this week, Cousins likes to say he's naive to it, but he can't be naive to all of it. Like, even if he's not going out and like searching for it in general, like I'm sure his close friends and family members are, discussing it with him. So,
I think that Golden Corral guy keeps telling him.
Kevin. I think his name's Kevin in the commercials. But yeah, to answer the question directly, is he back? I'm not sure that he was ever gone necessarily. I mean, again, he is an average quarterback. He'll never be Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
When I said back, I meant like, is he going to be like in the mindset that he can actually throw the ball downfield? I don't think he's going to be like, yeah, he's back. 30 for 30, 500,000 yards. Kirk Cousins is back.
And then the second quarter happens. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's always been the same Cousins. Maybe his confidence is a little more up now after that Giants game, sure. But we'll see in Philly, and we'll discuss that in a bit.
It's at Minnesota, though, isn't it?
Well, I guess, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
We'll see against Philly.
Okay. Yeah, so moving on to Green Bay, since we talked about the Vikings long enough.
Sure did.
Green Bay won again.
The
Fourth
end.
time this year, 34-24. I think I said it before the Philly game. I said it before this game. Stop the run, win the game, and that's what they did. They held Zeke to, I think, his lowest yardage total of the season. And honestly, I was surprised. It helped that they went up 24-rip to start the game, or 24-3 to start the game, because then they had to pass. But everybody was touting Dak's ability to throw the ball and Dak's ability to be a franchise quarterback that does more than just run. And they picked him off a handful of times. I thought Rodgers said it. He had a great game extending plays. He said it was his best game of the season despite throwing no touchdowns, and I might have to agree, just because some of those plays, I thought he was sacked, and I had already thrown my hands up in the air in frustration. Then all of a sudden you see just a number 12 kind of blooping out of the group of people and throwing the ball.
Blooping out, huh?
Throwing the ball or running for a couple yards. So he turned negatives into positives. Grain of salt, I'll skip my third bullet and go to my fourth for now.
Sure.
Grain of salt, and a win is nice. It's 4 wins, but none of them have been due to a strong fourth quarter. I think I know they've scored only 9 points in the fourth quarter over 5 games. But 3 of those 4 wins came against teams with winning records. So those teams are good that they're playing. 2 of them are in this division, so it is nice to see that they're able to win the division games when it matters. One of those was on the road, even better. But it would be nice to have a game where they put up 14 in the first quarter, 7 in the second, and then they put up 14 in the fourth just to close things out instead of making the defense close it out. Because if the defense is on the field for too long, they get tired and then they get bad. It's common geology.
Common geology.
I agree with your take on the media is gross. Not necessarily because of what they're saying about the Packers or anything, but just because it's fun to say media is gross.
Yeah, I didn't even discuss that, but yeah.
I will say that in that fourth quarter, I know I always say, whatever, everybody's against Green Bay, but the refs and mainly Aikman were working to give Dallas an advantage.
I mean, I guess I can't speak to the refs part. Of course, we all heard Aikman and how he was kind of discussing the game. At that point, I was paying less attention.
I hate to agree with it. That was my favorite clip. Did you hear that? There was a roughing the passer on, it was a Cowboys player, roughed Rodgers. He took 2 steps after the ball was thrown and then just took him down to the ground.
Sure.
Textbook Pat roughing, and so they replayed the clip, and he goes, I hate to say it, but I'm going to have to agree with the call here. And they brought in Mike Ferrari or whatever.
Mike Pereira.
Yeah.
Mike Ferrari.
I don't know. Mike Panini. Mike Pereira. And he's like, you don't have to hate to agree with it. This is a good call. And then you could hear Aikman in the background going, come on.
Is that exactly what happened?
Yeah. No, he recoiled into his little demon. For those of you who have seen Lord of the Rings, it was like Bilbo after having to give up the ring, and he wanted it back. He's like, come on. But
that's good.
But in the end, we all got the
attention.
last laugh, and with a Packers win over Dallas, that's just another year off of Troy Aikman's life.
Yeah, I think so.
And this segment is brought to you by none other than.
Should probably say was brought to you by, because the segment's over now. But
was brought to you by none other than locally owned, publicly funded, absolutely delicious Spotted Cow.
Ooh, that was a nice crisp one. That was good. And you have any thoughts on that game, Josh? I mean, Dak made it pretty easy by throwing a bunch of picks, and even having there was a couple more Cowboys turnovers that were, reversed by penalty. But
yeah, I guess the last thing is, for those of you out there who are Game of Thrones fans, a Stark must always be in Winterfell. Is kind of it's something that's been said a couple times, mostly in the books, meaning that there always has to be a Stark in Winterfell because that is their home. And Aaron will always own Dallas because that's what Aaron Jones did.
It certainly looked like it. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you didn't mention it,
the waving bye-bye clip.
Yeah,
my God,
we both know about Aaron Jones, but for most of the world that did not, that was his coming out party. And he was Aaron Jones was the guest on the Pat McAfee show this morning and talked about the wave and how the coaches yelled at him because that could be taunting. So, but it was funny in the moment, certainly.
That was, oh my God. If I could save a GIF as my background, that would be my background.
Just constantly him waving. Yeah. I'm sure. Well, could you? I don't know. That's something for another time.
That sounds like a battery drainer.
You can probably have a GIF as the background.
How about other games? I talked a lot about the Packers really fast. We talked about the Vikings. So let's talk about some other football games.
Yeah, Josh, let's talk about some other football games. I mean, the Chiefs lost, so that was a little bit brutal. That was the Sunday night game, so most of the world got to see the Colts take it to the Chiefs. Did you watch that game, Josh?
I did not. I watched Peaky Blinders with my wife.
Every time you say Peaky Blinders, I want to assume that's like a euphemism or some sort of sly way of saying porn, but I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not.
I mean, if anything, it's about horse racing because they put the blinders on the horses. But
so you're saying there's horse cocks in this show?
Well, there's horse racing in the show, but you don't actually see the horses race. We've digressed. Yeah, the Chiefs lost to the Indianapolis Colts, which is a horse.
That is correct. See, it all comes full circle, Josh.
Full square.
That's
Got
our
it.
Journalistic prowess right there. Watson and company dropped 53 on the Falcons. That was an impressive showing for Houston and Will Fuller. Most people probably had him on their fantasy bench, which is brutal. Chargers lost again. I was sad. Bears lost to the Raiders. So the Raiders, after losing to the Minnesota, have both beat the Colts, who beat the Chiefs, and then beat the Bears, who beat the Vikings. So the Raiders are going to the Super Bowl, according to my transitive property abilities.
I think they just gave them the Super Bowl.
I think so. I think they're calling it a season. The Browns. Now, did you watch the Monday night game, Josh? Or were you again watching horse cocks?
I was at dog training, obedience class, and I came home, ate chili, and went to bed.
All right. Well, if you saw the box score, the Browns got stomped.
Yes. No. Oh, yeah.
By the 49ers.
Oh, yeah. I saw Bosa plant the flag.
Bosa did plant the flag. But yeah, the Browns got stomped. And then, Josh, the last bullet point here, Minshew, not so perfect after all. I know you're going to have thoughts on this bullet point.
No, I mean, I saw the box score on that. They lost, obviously. he fumbled 3 times, and I think that's. I mean, he's a rookie. He's he was a 6th-round draft pick. He's not going to be perfect by any means.
Sure.
I don't think he threw an interception. He had a couple touchdowns. Fantasy points wise, he put up 20. So since this is technically kind of a fantasy podcast, he's still decent fantasy quarterback.
Definitely startable. Yeah.
And so I mean, it was sad to see that they lost overall, but it just caused his mustache to grow another ½ inch longer. So he's ready to go this week. Yeah,
that's pretty impressive, honestly.
He had to shave it right away, but nobody really saw it except me.
Gotcha. Do you have any other thoughts about any other things that happened around the NFL this week, Josh, or last week, I should say?
No, not really.
All right, then we will move on to the preview for Week 6, the Homer preview, that is. So again, I'll go first. We got the Vikings playing Philly. And so my ongoing bullets, or my ongoing phrase that's been in the note sheets for the last couple weeks is Vikings need to do more than win cushy home games. We need to steal some road wins. Right now I have us at 8 wins, blah, 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 blah. Well, we're not on the road this week, but of all our home games that aren't against the Bears or the Packers, this is certainly our most losable home game. We're playing Philadelphia. However, the cards are stacked in our favor just a little bit, so of course it's already at home. It's a noon game, so no prime time for Cousins. And, we've got a chance there. We got a Philadelphia team that's a little bit banged up. So if there was ever a comfortable environment of being at home and being a noon game, this is the Vikings' chance to beat a team with a winning record that's looking good this year despite their injuries. They obviously beat the Pack and absolutely stomped the Jets last week. But we've got a chance to, make a statement, as it were, in the league, even though we're at home and it's a noon game. I also said the same game plan probably won't work. So when we were playing the Giants, it seemed like Cousins was on a bootleg every other pass, which, if that works for that game, absolutely go for it. The Giants defense, however, as we've discussed, was not great. The Eagles defense is pretty darn good. I don't know if you've ever heard of Fletcher Cox or Brandon Grahams, Malcolm Jenkins. I could name drop some other people, but I don't know that many other people. But still, they're known as a good defense. Jim Schwartz is a great coordinator, despite what people might think about him after his time in Detroit as the header, but that's a really great defense. I don't think they would. I think they're just more disciplined than to allow Kirk to get out in space on bootlegs every other play. So I think the running game and quick passes are going to be crucial for this game. What else did I say? Just again, I'm surprised the Vikings are favored. We're favored by 3 points currently, which is essentially, if you're the home team, you get that 3-point favor. So Vegas is essentially saying it's a wash, but we get the 3-point favor because we're the home team. I don't know. This is a good team. Like this is a game we need to win. Just like I said last week, to get back on track, this is a game we need to win. We need to win the home games. We need to beat good teams. Again, it's a noon and a home game. This is a game we need to win.
My turn?
Yeah.
All right. Just a little bit of a correction. I don't know. It might have changed, but when the Packers were playing against the Eagles, they were bad on defense, for pass defense.
Yeah, they do have a banged up secondary.
They're a solid run defense, which, that might be a good test for Dalvin, might be a good test for Cousins as well for the passing. So that's kind of, I put run games and defenses as my things to watch, just because the Vikings defense has had moments of porous holes where they let runners through. I think we talked about it. Aaron Jones had 100 and some yards and a touchdown against Minnesota, but they've been solid otherwise. Their pass defense is pretty good, but then Xavier Rhodes, a couple years ago, we probably never would have said Xavier Rhodes is a liability on defense, but now it's as if he's lost out there, and I have a bold prediction written down, but this one is a different bold prediction where if Xavier Rhodes gets burned and fakes injuries anymore, he's not going to be playing much longer.
I don't know that he actually fakes injuries, but yeah, he's looked bad, and Mike Hughes has looked good, so I could definitely see Zimmer pulling Rhodes from the game, or at least putting him on a much more limited snap count. That's certainly possible.
Yeah, and my bold prediction, and so those are the two things that I'm going to be watching the most. My boldest prediction of the game for this is the winner of this game will make the playoffs as either a wild card or possibly the division champ.
So obviously they come from different divisions. So
yeah.
So I would say, would anyone else win the NFC East?
Dallas.
We just watched Dallas get exposed. Do you think they could still win? I guess I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like.
I think they could.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say that whoever wins this game is going to be in the playoffs at some capacity.
Sure. No, I like that.
Probably not the boldest prediction,
No, that's
but
a
I
fair-
feel like these teams would be the ones that are fighting for a wild card spot is what I was trying to get at there.
Right. And I guess I'll just go back to your very first point you mentioned. I agree that the Eagles secondary is certainly banged up, but my point about Kirk Cousins on bootlegs every other play is not going to work. It's because the D-line and the linebackers are not going to
Right.
let him
Yep. No,
get
and I
that time to
understand
throw
that.
the ball. And it is true that the Eagles currently have the top rush defense in the league. They're allowing the fewest rushing yards. I also heard it said on the radio today, and I did not fact check this, but they had the 5th fewest rushing attempts against them, so maybe that skews the stat a little, but still, they do have a great front 4, if not front 7. So Dalvin will definitely have his work cut out for him this week. Anyways, on to the Packers, Josh.
Yeah, Green Bay 4-1 takes on Detroit 3-1-1. I mean, we both have said that they're sneaky good. They gave Kansas City a run for their money, and Green Bay struggles at closing things out, so that could provide for a very life-shortening event for me. It's a Monday night game. Rodgers, I don't know what his primetime stats are. I don't think he's notorious for good or bad. I think it's just kind of right in the middle. I'm inclined that, if this was in Detroit, this would probably be that would be my pick is Detroit, but. And so you can cue a sounder if you want of whoa.
We don't have a whoa sounder,
Well,
sorry.
whoa. Made one.
Thanks.
But we're coming off back-to-back career games for skill players. Devontae Adams, before he got hurt, he put up a career game. Last week, Aaron Jones put up 4 touchdowns on a really good game. So I'm going to go, a 3-peat on that would be nice to see if Rodgers can get his passing back on track. But like we said, the Lions are sneaky good. This is going to be a good game on Monday night, I feel.
Yeah, it should be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll definitely make sure to tune in. What I think you kind of already covered my notes, but if this game were in Detroit, they would probably have to be my upset pick in the locks and upsets thing we do every week. They swept Green Bay last year. Detroit's looking hot. They're coming off the bye, and it's a Monday game, so they've got an extra day, an additional day to prepare for this hot Packers team. So we'll see. I'm just excited for a good game, and I'm really hoping. It's selfish to say that I want the game to be exciting for my own entertainment, but at the same time, all the cards I think are falling into place where this game will be exciting. And so whoever wins, I think I'd be rooting for Detroit if I'm being honest, just because I think they're the more of the underdog here. But either way, as long as it's a good game, I'll be satisfied. So that's all we got. Josh, you have any other thoughts on the Packers game this week?
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. All right, Josh. We got some tingies and we got some jingies. Just some other games coming up week 6. I wrote down Houston at KC. Hopefully that game should be a shootout to Washington at Miami. That's the game that happens this week.
I think I'm going to paint the ground and watch it dry.
That might be more entertaining. Just kidding. That game could be great because the defenses are it could be. I shouldn't say great. It could be entertaining. Who knows though? Anyway, San Fran at Los Angeles Rams. That should be an exciting game. And Pittsburgh at the Chargers. I think the Chargers need to. The Chargers always seem to start off rough. I don't know why. They're doing that this year though, and they just got another key injury. But the Chargers are still my babies, and I'm hoping they can beat a rough Pittsburgh team.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's on their what? Oh God, what did I read? Their first, second, and third. At the beginning of the season, they had 5 potential QB options, with Jalen Samuels being the 5th. And they're on number 4 right now because they traded Josh Dobbs. Big Ben hit a girl in a bathroom again and broke his arm, needed surgery. And then Mason, oh my God, Rudolph should probably just retire. After that hit, I'm surprised he even woke up.
It was brutal, and that whole thing with the cart and it was just a weird image when they took his face mask off. That was a scary moment for Mason Rudolph. Obviously, it's encouraging to watch him walk up and walk off the field under his own power. But yeah, and Jalen Samuels, I believe, is also out with an injury, so they would be on to option 6.
It's 4 and 6 right now.
Right? Yeah, I don't even know who 6 is.
I think 4 is their undrafted quarterback that was on the practice squad last week or 2 weeks ago, and then number 6 is Mike Tomlin putting on shoulder pads and heading out there.
I like Tomlin's chances. I think he could rip him up.
I think so. I think he's just going to take direct snaps and run straight ahead. Nobody's going to want to tackle him.
I wouldn't want to tackle him, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Otherwise, I agree with the games that you put on there. I'm excited to watch another week of football. I'm happy I get to go watch the Packers on Monday and then watch all the other games. Only stressing about fantasy.
Only stressing about fantasy. All right, Josh, let's move on to the locks and upsets then. And the locks and upsets was going to, oh, God. No, why? Locks and upsets is going to be brought to you by
Pokemon.
Arnold Palmer.
Oh.
All right, so anyways, Josh, we still have a perfect team in the locks and upsets leaderboard. It's a little crazy, but Jalen Swanson is still perfect. He's got a perfect 15 points after 5 weeks. In second place, we have T, me, and Kyle with 12 points, so we're a full week behind Jalen. No one could catch him unless they had a perfect week, and Jalen dropped the whole week. But yeah, after that is Jordan and Brad at 11, a couple people at 10, Jesse at 9, Eric's at 8, Derek at 7, and Aaron, who's been struggling all year, is all the way down at 6. It's been a brutal one. I was happy to see Buffalo win last week, which got me my full 3 points. Since you're typing stuff, I'll just say going up to week 6. Wow, I almost forgot what week it's going to be. Week 6, I've got the Chargers as my lock over Pittsburgh. Not a crazy lock pick considering Pittsburgh's QB situation. And for my upset, I was genuinely shocked to see that Jacksonville is favored in the game between Jacksonville and New Orleans after the way Teddy has played the last couple weeks. But Jacksonville is currently favored, at least last time I checked, and so I'm, of course, going to take advantage of that. As much as I love the Minshew mustache, I have to take the Saints over Jacksonville, even though it's in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, I took Baltimore over Cincy. I feel like that's a safe bet, despite Lamar Jackson starting off hot and then struggling recently. And then I also took New Orleans over Jacksonville. I didn't have them initially.
I was gonna bring it up if you didn't. I saw that you changed it.
I didn't initially because when I looked this morning, Jacksonville was favored.
Jacksonville is favored. That's the whole point of it being an upset.
No, not Jacksonville. New Orleans was favored.
Oh, okay.
New Orleans was favored by 2, and then it switched to Jacksonville by 1. Going on to, so I have Baltimore and then New Orleans. Those are my 2 picks. Nikita has the same picks as me, so she's going to say I copied her. I guarantee when she listens to it, because she did text me before I typed mine in. But I completely forgot about hers, and I didn't type them in until just now. So
that's I can verify that as fact, ladies and gentlemen. I watched him type them in. That's why I went first. And then the only other picks we have right now is from Eric's. He has Baltimore over Cincy as his lock. I think that's safe considering Cincy is 0-5. And then he has Detroit over Green Bay as his upset. That's the upset pick I want to go with. It's in my heart to go.
You're
with
lucky
Detroit
you're in
over Green
Latvia,
Bay,
boy.
But I actually also want to win the game because we have $140 on the line. So I picked New Orleans instead. But my heart, if this was just for fun, my upset would definitely be Detroit over Green Bay instead.
I don't even remember what I had typed in, but I think it was Detroit over Green Bay.
I mean, we can, if you really care, we could go back and look at the
really
version
care.
history.
Neither do our fans. But no, I mean, I said I hate you, but that's probably a decent pick. Just because of how Green Bay tends to struggle against Detroit lately.
All right, so just for funsies, I am going back, and we'll see. It's probably not going to load because that would be too easy. But do you have any? So I mean, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to fill the time with.
You had Miami over Washington as your upset.
That's right, because I decided to pick the dumpster fire of dumpster fires.
But so yeah, and then we normally have contributions from someone who cannot be named again because we had another complaint. So the land of 10,000 fakes, they did not contribute that this week. Didn't even get a phone call. So a lot of lack of respect out of that guy or girl, whoever they may be. Anyways, let's move on, Josh. We're done with the locks and upsets. What do we have next?
Hang on, I gotta get to my song. Week 6. It's week 6 fantasy fun time. Jalen, you suck.
I mean, Jalen's not involved in fantasy fun time, but I like that you still got it in there. Fantasy fun time brought to you by Arnold Palmer. Not Strawberry this week because Quick Trip didn't have it. Very disappointing, but still good.
It's Arnold Palmer Light. Are you watching your sugar intake?
I mean, they're all light. They don't sell a normal version. What? I know.
I thought this was America.
You thought wrong, Josh. So go look at the NBA. This is China now.
All right. Grain of salt. Hit it up, Brad. Brought to you by Bradley Knupp's Arteries. Grain of salt? Because he eats too much salt? No?
That was just a joke. I was not prepared for it. Never mind. That's not a bad joke. I just wasn't ready for it.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, grain of salt. So, if we're going to try and give quote-unquote fantasy advice, we should probably, tell us how good we are. And, again, I started out 6-2. Since then, I have not had a week better than 4-4. I went 4-4 again this week. I'm overall 21-19 with a 52.5% winning percentage. It's brutal out there, man. I can't do better than 4-4. That's it. That's my grain of salt. I suck, or I'm extremely average.
I mean, I can't get more than 4 wins either in my fantasy leagues, so I'm right there with you. I went 4-1 this week, bringing me up to 17-8, 68% win percentage on that. I did lose in the one league where I was undefeated, though, but currently I have a winning record in all my leagues, so I'm happy about that.
So I don't know, Josh, I don't know if you've looked at the GARS 2019 fantasy page, but I did. Just for my own vindication, I did steal some of your intellectual property from last year. And I did what would my record be against the whole league? And so it would be slightly better. I'd have a 58.02 or 59, whatever that number is, winning percentage. So it'd be a little higher. And I did like a little status. So of my 8 teams, 4 of them I still feel pretty good about. 3 of my teams are looking rough. I think I'm losing some close matches. So I don't know if I'll make it. And then 1 team, the BSB league, I'm an absolute dumpster fire in there. But
is that what you asked? You brought me in?
No, I mean, I brought you in because you said you wanted to be in, so
okay.
I just added you to the chat,
all
essentially.
Right.
But yeah. So
and I do want to point out that one of the games that I got a win in this week, I was down my first and second round draft pick, and I still got a win.
Ooh, not bad, Josh. Not bad.
Yeah. So I think they're both coming back. They're both potentially coming back this week. So then it's just going to be smooth sailing to next year's championship. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not going to have these same guys, I'm guessing, but I'm going to win 2 years in a row. Calling it now, Walters.
Can't say that name, Josh. Someone complained.
I didn't say anything. I said Walmers.
Walters?
Yeah.
All right. Top performers, Josh. Go.
Hang on. I'm not on the right sheet.
What?
Okay, top performers. Quarterback, Deshaun Watson, 41.7 points. Little bit of a drop-off to Matt Ryan at 31.9, nearly 10 points. And then Russell Wilson at 29.9. Running backs, Aaron Jones. I know we were texting back and forth about Christian McCaffrey, and we're like, is he going to hit 60? And Aaron Jones somehow passed him. I guess 4 touchdowns helps.
Will do it, yeah.
But 49.2. Christian McCaffrey just behind him at 47.7. And then a huge drop-off to Josh Jacobs at 29.3. Will Fuller led wide receivers with 53.7, 12 points behind that. Michael Thomas, 41.2, and then Amari Pooper Scooper with 39.6. Tight ends, we had George Kitty Litter Kittle with 20.8, Gerald Everett with 20.6, and Zach Butterts, 16.7.
You have
It's so quiet. But now we have to do it again, Josh.
No.
You have an absolutely breathtaking hiney.
Those are some nice tight ends out there.
All right, now let's get to some studs and duds, ladies and gentlemen. What do you have, Gar?
Well, Josh, if we're going over last week, I just want to give a general statement to almost everyone had a great week. I see lots of green there. We had 2 celebrities coming in and giving us some studs and some duds. Pretty much everyone had a great positive week, Josh. So I just want to give
every
a shout out to
single person. You know, red's my favorite color.
I want to give a shout out to almost everyone who did really good. Last week I had Will Dissly and Le'Veon Bell, who were both studs and duds respectively according to the rules of our game. Josh, how'd you do?
Well, my reverse psychology worked on Zeke. He was a dud, even though I had him as a stud for -4. But Le'Veon Bell was also my dud for +3, so I finished with -1.3 on the week.
Good enough for last place out of 7.
I'll take it.
So Eric said Tyler Lockett, who was not that studly, and Terry McLaurin, who was kind of dudley. Overall, Eric's was +2 points on the week.
Nikita had Julian Edelman for +10. That was a good pick there, wife.
Oh, big.
And then Carson Wentz with he had 12.1 and was projected about 18 for a 6-point difference for a total of 16. She finished second this week, but she did want me to point out, and I will say she did actually do this. She called Zeke as a dud, and Zeke was a dud.
That's true. You essentially collusioned her into changing her dud pick.
Yeah, but then her dud pick got changed to Carson Wentz, which got her more points. So You're welcome.
Yeah, Nikita of the core 5 who do studs and duds weekly, she came in first, so not bad. She
Yeah.
only lost to Hammer. Never mind. Teddy Bridgewater was pretty studly for Mr. and then Austin Eckler was not Dudley. So overall, Teddy Bridgewater carried that dude who we can't name to a positive 3.4. So good for you, loser.
Jamie had Julian Edelman as well for a positive 10, and then Dick Prescott was her dud for negative 4, so she finished with a positive 6.4.
And then talking about studs, someone dropped the hammer this week. Adam Thielen was Mr. Hammer's stud, projected 13.7, actually got 32, so that's plus 18 points right there. He had David Montgomery as the dud, citing the fact that he underperforms every week. He underperformed yet again. David Montgomery projected 14.1, only got 10.6. Overall, Hammer had a 21.8 on the week in the positive direction, which would be good for second on the leaderboard after only 1 week. Not bad.
Well, law of averages.
I don't know if you want to discuss the leaderboard or not, but I'm still in first. I'll just get that little note in there.
Thank God we didn't put money on this.
Nikita skyrocketed into
Yeah.
second with positive points. Josh, you're a distant third, negative 10. That other person is also negative 10. And then Eric's still having a brutal season. Negative.
Hey, he finished positive this time.
He did, but his overall season is negative 44. He's having a rough go, as some would say.
So who do you got this week?
So this one, maybe controversial, maybe not. I got Kirk Cousins as my stud. Projected 13.6. I think he should be able to surpass that. Going against the rough Eagles secondary that we've discussed already. They got Todd Gurley as my dud. This San Francisco Niners defense has been pretty stout. So I know it's a PPR league. Todd Gurley might have plenty of reception opportunities. I don't think that'll be enough to get his 17.5 projection. So he is my dud for the week.
I went with Gerald Everett for my stud. He's had a couple of solid back-to-back weeks. He's only projected 8 this week. I feel like it's either going to be a high-scoring game because of the offenses, or it's going to be Gerald Everett gets a touchdown. That's that's essentially it. My dud, Aaron Rodgers. He's projected 18.2. He hasn't. I mean, we talked about it earlier. He hasn't been fantasy relevant for the longest time. At all this season for the most part. And so I think that being a division game, Aaron Jones coming off a hot week, Devonta Adams still up in the air. I don't think he's going to hit that 18.2. And if he does, I'm really hoping it's because Green Bay is winning.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Josh picking Aaron Rodgers as a dud. Never thought you'd see it, folks. Moving on to Eric's. He's got Chris Carson as his stud and Austin Eckler as his dud. No reasoning provided this week. I'm guessing he's assuming that Melvin Gordon will take back his role, but in our full PPR league, I think Austin Eckler could still hit 14.
Nikita has Adam Thielen, who I forgot to enter the projections on because she didn't send them to me, as her stud. I think her reasoning behind that is going to be because of his week last week and because Diggs is a crybaby bitch and Adam Thielen's wide receiver 1. Her dud is DeAndre Hopkins. Despite DeAndre Hopkins being the number 1, he hasn't seen as much production, probably because he's seeing quadruple coverage every game. Deshaun Watson loves Will Fuller, and so, yeah, DeAndre Hopkins has underperformed this year.
I think that's fair to say. So we have another celebrity shot this week. Hammer, after getting that taste of that sweet, sweet victory last week, he wants more. He's got Mark Ingram as his stud, and so I know Hammer doesn't traditionally play this game with us, but Josh, you've certainly seen the strategy over the last year and 5 weeks develop of you want to take a stud with a low projection so you have a much better chance of winning. He's got Mark Ingram as a stud with a 16-point projection. Playing against Cincy, he could certainly still be a huge stud candidate. I'm not saying he can't be, but bold strategy. Going with someone with a high projection. Maybe he's doing more truthiness, kind of like your wife does.
I'm going to do an on-the-spot bold prediction, as I've done a couple times already during the podcast. Not this one, but just in general. Mark Ingram is going to put up 30 points fantasy.
Well, Lottie frickin' dog!
Absolutely. No, I mean, against Cincy, Mark Ingram has been a stud all year. I think he's still running back. He's in the top 10 for running backs. I do think that's a solid pick, and they're going to lean on him a little bit more if Jackson struggles.
Yeah, no, I think you're perfectly correct. Nick Chubb was Hammer's dud, by the way, projected 20.1, and I forget who the Browns play off the top of my head, but I don't know what the matchup looks like, but his projected as Hammer's dud. So
Yeah, I mean, 20's a lot. Nick Chubb he's had some solid games. He's had some mediocre games. So I think that's a solid pick there, Hammer, even though he's on my team, and screw you.
Screw you, guy. All right, so does that do it? Oh, no, it does not, Josh. We have bold predictions, your favorite part of fantasy fun time. What do you got as your other official bold prediction, fantasy related, for the week?
So aside from Mark Ingram putting up 30 in full point PPR, I have Will Dissly being this week's tight end 1. And so him being tight end 1 isn't necessarily that much of a stretch.
Okay.
And he would be in the top 15 for wide receivers with his points.
That's we've seen some pretty high wide receivers this year, Josh. You sure that's what you want to go with?
Absolutely.
You know what, Josh? We got to hit you with another one of these.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
So if I'm double bold, do I get an automatic 100 points in our league?
No, unfortunately,
Okay,
no.
sorry. Well, I tried.
Yeah, I got to give it to you.
It's just the way she goes.
All right, Josh. Should we finally start discussing that redraft league of ours?
Absolutely. Let's make it quick. I'm hungry.
Oh, hell, Mr. Hungry over here. All right, well, we know how we got to start this.
It's true that every man has his price. And it's also true that money won is a lot sweeter than money earned. Now he's a philosophizer.
Jesse won the side bet this week. Jesse was the biggest loser, which was the most points scored for a losing team. He had 129.2. So good job, Jesse. If you want to send your application in for the biggest loser, I highly suggest doing it before it gets out of hand. Next, the closest games of the week. Robin beat Nate by about 8-ish. I didn't want to do math because there's decimal points. The biggest blowout, I didn't even think about doing the math, but Derek got blown out once again. He got spanked.
Yeah, he doesn't want to talk about it, as Bradley has told me. The walking tacos don't want to talk about it.
Yep. But I will say last week I had a bold prediction on the spot of you having the highest point margin despite being the closest, and you were the second point.
That's true.
So
I was going to bring it up if you did.
I mean, it was close.
Not bad.
Brief
Not bad.
walkthrough of all the games with our prediction outcomes for the last week. Garlic, you had 5 correct, which is good out of 7. I had 3.
Ooh, 3 of 7. Not great, Josh. Not great. But so
3
yeah.
of 5 out of 7's a perfect score.
That's according to you. I beat Hammer, just like Josh just mentioned, 179 to 104. I had the Eagles defense carrying me as my top performer with 35 points. Jamie beat Josh. Josh, do you want to talk about that one, Josh? You want to talk about losing, Josh? You want to talk about not being undefeated?
Yeah, well,
Josh?
like I texted Jamie this morning after she texted me. She said, good game. Sorry, not sorry. I thought she said she kept checking her app because she thought Nick Chubb was going to put up 50. I had turned in for the night because I knew Nick Chubb was going to put up 50. As I said to her, Devontae Adams will be back in the playoffs, so we'll see her there.
I will say I saw Jamie on, I believe it was Friday night, and she was worried. I think it would have been Saturday. Friday or Saturday, doesn't matter. Anyways, she was nervous going into it. I was like, Jamie, you have nothing to be worried about. And Christian McCaffrey getting almost 50 points. I was right. He did outscore his projection greatly. Mahomes did not, though. But yeah, Jamie is the last remaining undefeated team in the league. Brian beats Nikita 133 to 107. Deshaun Watson's 41 points certainly helped Brian there. You already mentioned Bradley absolutely stomping Derek by almost 90 points. Sorry, Derek, you're 0-5. Will Fuller, of course, was almost a third of Bradley's points with 50. T beat Garrett. I predicted that one correct. I remember that. Garrett had a really, really rough week. He had Baker Mayfield in his lineup. I know that, which was negative points. Overall, it was 110 to 70. T was carried by Adam Thielen. Robin beat Nate with Matt Ryan, mainly the pick we all mocked her, but Matt Ryan had 32 points this week, so she beat him 122 to 113. And then Willie, still just rolling over everybody with his most points scored. He had 176 to Jesse's 129. Of course, Aaron Jones's 50 really helped out Willie in that one. So that was last week, Josh. You have any other thoughts about last week in the redraft league?
Nope.
All right, let's move on then to this week in the redraft league.
This week we have
that my phone?
I don't know what that was.
That was weird.
We have Skybusters, Brian, 3-2 versus the undefeated Sherlock Mahomes, Jamie.
Well, before you get too crazy, Josh, what's the side bet for the week?
I forget.
Oh, you're not on that page anymore. Well, I can tell you the side bet is Like a Boss, the team with the biggest margin of victory.
So whoever's playing Derek.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so we've got, oh God, no, I'm not on the wrong page again. I'm on the wrong page again. Jamie versus Brian. Jamie is currently projected to win by 30, 115.7 to Brian's 85.4. That's a very low projection. So either he has a lot of buys or he has, yep, that's right. He has no running backs.
Yeah, he's got a pretty rough squad, and so I wanted to wait, and I wanted to pick my teams live, just kind of give a little more depth on the matchups that are coming up. But yeah, there's no way that Jamie drops this game to Brian. I'm so sorry, Brian, but you're about to get stomped by Jamie. She remains undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, especially if he keeps in two guys aren't playing this week.
Yeah, I mean, his projected score will certainly come up, but even then, I mean, no one's stopping Jamie.
Yeah, no,
unless
I had
Jamie stops herself.
I had Jamie winning as well. Next we have Nikita 3-2 versus Garrett 3-2. Potentially a good game here. We have Nikita projected 103.2 versus Garrett's 88.3. I said Nikita's going to right the ship in this one, take the win. I feel like Travis Kelce, Dak Prescott, they're going to both have big games, as well as David Johnson. Yeah, and yes, I did just read her top 3 on the ESPN app because I was too lazy to open anything else.
Well, very good, Josh. That's impressive. But, I mean, I agree that if Garrett continues to start Baker Mayfield in his lineup, that's brutal. James Conner, his production probably goes down. I mean, currently he's projected to lose because he has Marlon Mack on a bye in his lineup and Adam Vinatieri, doorknob. But, yeah, I got to go to Nikita on this one as well. She's got Dak. She's got DJ. Latavius Murray's a rough start, but Keenan Allen, Calvin Ridley. Is that Deontay Johnson in there? Whew, Travis Kelce. So, yeah, I mean, the Nikita walks away with this one for sure.
We've got our very own Washington versus Miami game coming up, and that's going to be Derek 0-5 versus Hammer 1-4.
Ooh, which is which? Which is which in your mind?
Honestly, whoever wins this week between Washington and Miami, that's Hammer, because Derek's going to lose again.
So should we is Derek tanking then for a high draft pick next year? Because we are implementing a new system.
Yes.
So he's Miami then.
Yep, no, he is Miami. So, I mean, Derek has a shot of winning if Tyreek Hill does play. Just because I think that he's going to come back and they're going to feed him the ball, get him caught up with all the stats he wants. But, I mean, Amari Cooper's been solid. Elvin Kamara,
Kamara, you've never heard of this man before.
Yeah, no, he's been okay. Jameis Winston is projected high. I think I have Derek written down, and I won't change it because I'm lazy, but I do think Hammer's going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, Hammer definitely needs to get rid of O.J. Howard. That's a DEFCON drop, as some of our...
He can only catch baseballs.
I guess he can only catch baseballs. I mean, Chris Thompson's also a rough start, but against Miami could be beneficial. But you got to get O.J. Howard out of there, Hammer. The only reason Hammer's winning a game this week is, again, because he's playing the Miami of our league, which is Derek, who has just been eviscerated by bad luck and poor play. Greg Zuerlein has been his hotspot. Maybe I'll see if Derek will trade me Greg Zuerlein, number 1 kicker in the league. You think he would?
I don't know. Next up, we have the Cincinnati scrimmage.
So wait, just to be clear, you took Derek in that one? Because that's what we have written down in the...
I did, but yeah, I said it. Oh my God, if you listen to your
I don't listen. I don't even listen to
I
myself
said I
talk.
have Derek written down. I'm not going to change it, but I do think Hammer's going to win.
Okay. I just want to confirm. My eyes were deceiving me.
All right, so then the next game we have is Cincinnati practice scrimmage, which is T sitting at 2-3 with a garbage team versus Nate sitting at 1-4 with a garbage team. I don't want to pick a winner. They both lose.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were pausing, waiting for me, but I mean...
I went with Nate.
Yeah, the Saquon injury has certainly been hurting Nate, although he's got Kenyon Drake as a starter. Woof. I mean, but Saquon... Nate has him in his lineup. I don't think I'm pretty sure he's out because they play on Thursday. But Lamar Jackson has been a bright spot traditionally. Tyler Boyd's his number 1 wide receiver, though, for the week. Zach Ertz... Very unfortunately for me, I'm going to have to pick T on this one. Nate has been bad recently. All right, so next one you have is me versus Willie. Willie, again, as we've mentioned a lot last week and this week, Willie has been a dominant force with by far the most points scored. I'm probably going to lose this week. I put in Jimmy Garoppolo in my starting lineup. I've got Zeke. I'm spot starting Ronald Jones because that's a rough one for me. Chris Godwin has been great. George Kittle was good last week. I'm throwing in Mike Williams in the flex. But, Willie's got Russell Wilson, Dalvin Cook, Kenny Golladay, Austin Hooper, Aaron Jones. I would need a miracle to win this game, and I don't think I'm going to get it. So, yep, I'm gonna be losing to Willie. There's just no chance I don't. Josh also picked Willie for what it's worth, and not that anyone would know it, but Josh walked away for a moment. But moving on to the next matchup, we have Robin and Jesse. So I'll vamp just a second longer so Josh can get ready to discuss that game.
Yeah, I think your team has a chance if Garoppolo hooks up with Kittle for a couple touchdowns, but for the most part, yes, I did pick Willie because Willie's team scores a lot.
Yeah, he's dominant. So next we have Robin and Jesse. That one's all yours, Josh.
Yeah, Robin's in at 2 and 3, despite us saying she had one of the best starting lineups. Matt Ryan, Todd Gurley, Derrick Henry. I don't like Derrick Henry. Todd Gurley's been underperforming this year, and Matt Ryan is hit and miss. Jesse's 3 and 2. He's currently projected to win by 15. Julio, Rogers, even though we talked about him underperforming, and then Damian Williams. I think I had Jesse winning this one. Yes, I did.
You did have Jesse winning, and I have to agree. Yeah, I don't like Todd Gurley or Derrick Henry either. Vance McDonald's a woof with that Pittsburgh offense. Alshon Jeffrey is going to have a tough matchup, I think. Juju Smith-Schuster against the Chargers, that one's not bad. Jordan Howard, if he was playing anyone other than the Vikings, I'd say that's a good play, and he still might be. Who knows? He's carved us up in the past. But yeah, Jesse's team looks rough as well. You just got to give it to Jesse, I think, with that Mark Ingram and that DJ Chark in there. I think this is, if you want to talk about a lot of matchups amongst bad teams, despite Jesse being 3 and 2, I think he's got a bad team. But I agree with you that Jesse will win this week.
Lastly, my matchup versus Brad. I'm 4 and 1 versus Brad's 2 and 3. Brad is currently projected to win. I do not have a flex player in, though.
Who needs him?
I'm hoping to roll on Cooper Kupp, as I have in the past, as well as Nick Chubb. Right now, I'm debating on Devontae Adams or Kerryon Johnson in my flex, just because I'm not sure if Devontae is going to play. And so, yeah, I have me winning because, as a wise man once said, if you're not going to pick yourself, why even play?
Yeah, Brad ended up listening to the pod last week because after our little game, Marcus Mariota is Brad's starting quarterback. So he was unowned in the league last week, and now he's starting for Brad.
Just in time for him to start sucking.
And they're playing Denver, which has traditionally been a good defense. Brad's got Leonard Fournette, Chris Carson, Michael Thomas. Ted Ginn is a really rough start. But then he has Will Fuller on the flex, the Vikings defense, which should not be great. You have the Minshew in, as you said, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. I do not like your Cooper Kupp matchup. Cortland Sutton has been hot. Mark Andrews has been all right after having a hot start. He's gone down to average. You know what? I'm going to, just to be difficult, I'm going to pick Brad in this one. I think Brad has a lot of favorable matchups, and he has a lot of potential to boom. So I'm going to give it to Brad. I know with the projections, once you put it in a flex player, you'll probably be out projecting Brad by maybe 10, maybe 15. But I'll still take Brad in this one just because I think he has some pretty favorable matchup this week. I like Chris.
You know what? I don't even need a flex. I'll still beat him.
Are you bold enough to not put in a flex?
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think so. All right. Do you have any other thoughts on the matchups this week, Josh?
Nope.
All right. Do you have any other final thoughts at all? This is the section we like to call the outro. This is where you get to
I'm
share
hungry.
Anything else you want to say?
Once you start the music, I'm going to go put in some chili.
Chili?
Yeah. And
Yeah, okay, well, the Vikings are terrible.
Well, thank you for sharing. Thanks for having me, Josh. I appreciate it. Nikita, thank you for listening.
Love you, Nikita.
Mr. Ryan Walters, Mr. Eric Kesteris, Mr. Eric Landvik, Jamie Hammer, Levi Oki, Zach Wells, Brian Knupp, maybe Bradley Knupp, and Hammer. You gave me some grief, I believe, on Friday evening or Saturday. Again, I can't remember, but you said you've missed only one pod this year, so you've been loyal as well. So thank you, Mr. Andrew Hammer. Don't forget about our email address if you want to reach out to us that way, hiddenoaksoverdose@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/hoodpod. I might be putting our podcast on a platform called Anchor, and you could actually leave small little voicemails on Anchor, so I might put... by the time you're listening to this, we might be available on Anchor. So if you want to go download the Anchor podcast app, we should be on there, and you might be able to leave us a voice message. So that might be another way to interact with us as well. That's it. Josh is already gone. So thank you, everybody. Love you. Miss you already.